Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy, and I want to use some of the Vivid Intense on this 10-inch MDF round. So I'm going to speed up this video a little bit and do a voiceover because I was listening to some reading while I was painting. So anyway, this is PPG Multi Pro in Eggshell from Home Depot for the pillow paint. And I hope I remember the colors I used. I had too much paint on there. So, sorry, my voice cracked. So I'm using primarily some Vivid Intense fluorescent colors, but I'm kind of going for jewel tones here, so I'm not really going for fluorescent. So I've said in a previous bloom that you can use them with other colors and really maximize on how bright they are. So this is Amethyst Queen, so this is a primary element. And that's Cobalt Teal, which is one of my favorite golden colors. So I actually mixed in a couple of primary elements for some shimmer. So we're going to use Amethyst Queen here. And part of the reason I use some of these colors is some of them were mixed up a little bit too thin, so I needed to make some room and thicken them up a little bit. That's Fluorescent Blue. So this is a Colourarte Vivid Intense Fluid Acrylic. It's beautiful blue. Sorry about my dirty puppy pad in the back. I used it to mix up colors. Gotta recycle where you can, you know? All right. Next up is Alexandrite, I think. Super beautiful. And then we're going to do Fluorescent Red Violet, one of my faves. Sorry, my dog is snoring next to me. And the other one is snoring. All right, Fluorescent Magenta, another favorite. You can kind of see where the jewel tone thing comes into play here, huh? I already like it, and we haven't even done anything with it. That is Fluorescent Blue Green, one of my new favorite colors from Colourarte. If I don't tell you the name of the paint, it's Colourarte. But I did list everything in the description box. And you can use my code and save 20% off on anything from Colourarte using Mandy1120. That is also Colourarte. That is titanium white Vivid Intense. It's too thick. But I just wanted it in there for a pop of contrast. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the Cobalt Teal on the top. Because Cobalt Teal kind of has a little bit of, I think it has some titanium white in it. And so it's nice under a dark cell activator to make sure that you have some separation between the darker colors. And so I'm going to use a lamp black cell activator. I'm using M-Gram and Australian Floetrol. You can use Amsterdam. I like M-Gram acrylic paint a lot for cell activator. I get it from Blick. And I have a link to Blick in my description box. If you shop through our link, helps the channel out. No special discounts, unfortunately, but that's where I get all my non-Colourarte paint and that kind of stuff. So sorry about my big old head. Just blowing this out. And I did have some trouble blowing because I had too much paint on the canvas. And so when you have too much paint on the canvas, which some of it was pillow paint, it's like you can't blow it out without it sinking into the paint. And that was kind of what was happening. And so as I tried to chase it around, it got super lopsided and all wobbly. But other than that, the blow wasn't bad. I really need to zoom you in more, but sometimes when I zoom you guys in, my camera tries to autofocus and I don't notice it until I go to edit the video, and then I'm like, what happened? So, sorry. But, so just seeing a whole lot of my head. Anyway, trying to shift it a little bit without moving it too much, because not all of it's moving at the same time, so it's going to give us crooked cells. But look how pretty. All the pretty little jewel tones. So I'm just using my little skewer in some areas where I didn't really do the greatest job blowing it out, even though it's probably going to go to the edge for the most part. So this one's going to be a little quickie for you. I'll give you a close-up at the end, but I think this one is really quite lovely, which is nice. It's nice to have a win, you know? Look at that. She's beautiful. Just a couple of bubbles we had to deal with. And because I put too much pillow paint on, thankfully it helped me at this point getting it to the edge. And yeah, so this is a quick video, but I wanted to show these colors to you in the bloom. When Leslie first developed these fluorescent fluid acrylics, I was so excited because I love to use the bright colors in with other colors too, not just with other fluorescents. And so this is a great example of how lovely they can be. So you have to get you some, and they're priced really, really nicely. So I could not be more thrilled that this fluid acrylics line is available at Colourarte. Woohoo! All right, so we're just gonna keep spinning until we get enough paint off, because as I mentioned before, there was a lot on there. As we spin, some bubbles are coming up that I'm trying to address before they pop and create those ugly little dots you have to fix later. The colors are really phenomenal together. Just really phenomenal. I mean, it is a little off center. You can kind of see that some of the weight of the paint is heavier on one side than the other, but that's okay. And this black cell activator is a little old. You can get away with darker cell activators a little bit longer than you can white for some reason. So I do start messing with this middle part a little bit, which when you're looking from your angle, you're like, what is the problem? Just leave it alone. But when you're working on something, there is times where that one spot, it just almost makes you mental. And then later when you're not working on it, you're like, that was dumb. I didn't really need to mess with that. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing now, is overworking that. So if you can't tell what I'm doing, I'm taking the skewer and I'm trying to get some of this random white part that looks overblown to dip into that black. But almost everything I'm doing is making it worse because the skewer is kind of white and it's blurring it. So I once saw Karen dip with her finger, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try that.
So that was kind of a terrible blow, but it turned out really nice. The blow probably wouldn't have been that bad, but I had too much pillow paint on the surface, but that worked out in our favor when we had too much paint and it was way too much over here. So I don't know how the weight of the paint got over here so much, but yeah. So I love the jewel tone fluoro colors, but I wanted to include a little sparkle. So I think adding those two pigments was a nice touch. So here's the close-up. You can see the sparkle. This will look spectacular under resin. I just can't say enough how beautiful these Vivid Intense colors are. Now some of my paints were still a little thin. You might have noticed that as I was drizzling. So when I noticed it, I tried to put one that was thicker
on top of it to kind of sandwich it. But that causes these jiggly cells. Now, some of that happened from me shifting to try to get the weight of the paint back to the other side, but it is, consistency is important, so happens to the best of us, huh? So yeah, let me know what you think of this one. Don't forget, you can use my code, Mandy1120, to save 20% on everything Colourarte. And these fluid acrylics are amazing, so super, super happy about them. But yeah, thanks for watching, and this little 10-incher will be up on Etsy once I get it resined, which takes some time, but I really like it. And this cell activator is a little old, so we still got pretty decent coverage even with old cell activator. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!